Hey guys, how are y'all doing? Today we're going to be talking about Sonic Colors. I thought since I haven't reviewed a Sonic game in a while, and we got Sonic Colors Ultimate coming pretty soon, and also I don't really know when else I'm going to be able to talk about this game, I thought I should take a look at this game and see if it really does deserve a remaster. So let's start off with the early stages of Colors. So during this time when Sonic was going through a bit of an episode in 2006, Sega was like, everyone hates us now. Why did people have the dev team to make a Wii game and rush this game out for a holiday release? Don't worry, Chris, I have an idea. What is it, Charlie? Remember God of War from like 2 or 3 years back? Well, what if we did that? But with Sonic, we could split it up into speed stages and fighting stages. I like it. But what character could we use for the fighting gameplay? Knuckles? Shadow? Make Sonic into a werewolf? Why? Remember when Link turned into a werewolf for that one game? Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. So anyway, Unleashed was released in November of 2008, and while I and many others loved that game, the game had mixed negative reviews when it first came out, specifically one from IGN, but that's for a video for another time, and a video that I will never make. Black Knight was released in March of 2009, again with mixed to negative reviews, so Sega just said it and delisted every Sonic game that had a low or at least a subpar Metacritic score. Now the developers saw the reviews and decided that, let's just make this an all Sonic experience, since Sonic is the only character to play in this game. And also have a game that's to complement that style like the sword gameplay from Black Knight. People were also pretty pissed when they found out that it was only a Nintendo Wii exclusive, which I thought was kind of unnecessary myself. But apparently, according to the game's producer, Takashi Iizuka, Sonic Colors was designed to appeal to a casual audience, particularly children and Mario fans, and thought that it was impossible to please all Sonic fans, those who enjoyed prior games like Sonic Unleashed and Sonic 4. Also, it might have something to do with the fact that Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games sold about 5.67 million copies, and assuming that Sonic fans most likely owned a Wii at that time, Sega probably wanted to capitalize on that opportunity. Sonic Colors was released on the Nintendo Wii and DS on November 16, 2010, Europe got it 5 years earlier, so it did very well critically and financially, selling over 2 million copies. Considering that Sonic's future was looking pretty grim at the time because of the bad publicity that Sonic 06 was getting, which just made people who've never played a Sonic game in their life before go like, haha, Sonic sucks, lol. It's nice to see that Sonic's getting back on track for a while. I know some people will say that Sonic Unleashed is what got Sonic to be mainstream, and I will admit that Unleashed was a step in the right direction, but it still wasn't able to help him fully recover from the failures of Shadow in 06. Everyone remember when this game first came out, people were saying that Colors ripped off Mario Galaxy just because Sonic was in space, even though the level designs is nowhere near the same. Not to mention that Sonic has been into space multiple times before Galaxy, so that's like saying Uncharted ripped off Tomb Raider for having the same control style and level design, or Jak and Daxter ripped off Spyro and Banjo-Kazooie just for having collectibles you can get from completing challenges. I don't know where I brought this up, so let's just move on. Alright, let's get into the story. Sonic and Tails are traveling inside of an interstellar amusement park that Eggman built to make up all the stuff that he did in the past.
This amusement park has been constructed entirely out of a sense of remorse for my past transgressions, and is in no way associated with any sort of evil plot or premeditated misdeeds. Bullshit. Bullshit.
But we all know that's a damn lie, so Sonic and Tails sneak inside to see what the hell he's up to this time. While there, they meet Yacker, who comes from a species of aliens known as the Wisp. After inventing a translator to communicate with them, they learn that the other Wisps have been enslaved by Eggman, who plans to harness their energy for a mind control laser that will allow him to take over Earth. Sonic then proceeds to visit the planets, liberating the Wisp and shutting down all the generators linked to the amusement park. After Sonic frees the Wisp, Eggman tries to fire the cannon at the world, but a piece of wreckage causes it to malfunction. As the amusement park starts to explode, Sonic confronts Eggman, and Eggman uses the Nega Wisp to power his final contraption, a robot that uses the power of all the Wisps that Sonic has to fight. As the machines get weaker, the Wisp escape and help Sonic defeat Eggman, sending him hurling off to space. The Wisp carry out Sonic out of the exploding amusement park, returning safely to Earth. Yacker thanks Sonic and Tails, and then they fly off safely to another planet. But if you're playing the DS version, Sonic and Tails soon learn that the leading Mother Wisp has been infected by the negative energy and transforms into a Nega Mother Wisp. Using the power of the Chaos Emeralds, Sonic transforms into Super Sonic and fights her. Following her defeat, the Mother Wisp returns to the normal, and the Wisp part ways with the two heroes. So that's the story. Now, a lot of fans hate the story for starting the trend of Sonic stories being cartoony and kid-friendly, rather than more mature and deep than the games that came before it. But to be honest, I don't really mind it that much. I mean, sure, Sonic's puns can be cringy sometimes.
When I feel the ground shaking under my feet and see plumes of dust rising and rubble tumbling and aliens running for their lives, yeah, I get a bad feeling. So, how about you and me make like Eggman's hairline and recede?
but the writing is actually pretty good, and some of the jokes actually made me laugh or at least chuckle.
Leaving so soon! There are no lines, and I've saved the best rides for last! At least let me stab your hand so you can come back in!
I know you're trying to be clever with this whole amusement park pun thing, but it's just coming off lame. So just say you're going to destroy us and stop embarrassing yourself.
Curse you, Sonic! Not only do you foil my plans, but you foil my speeches as well! I work hard on them!
This is also the first time the new voices made their first appearance, with Roger Craig Smith as Sonic and Kate Higgins as Tails. Thankfully, Mike Pollock reprised his role during this decade, because he's just amazing in this game. He's not as good as Unleashed or maybe even Generations, but he still brings a lot of energy to Eggman. Keep in mind guys, story isn't everything. If the story is good, but if the gameplay's like utter garbage, it doesn't really change the fact that you didn't have fun, or vice versa. Personally, I think Sonic games' story should be fun and cheeky, but take itself serious when it needs to, and I think games like Unleashed and Heroes do that perfectly. So this game is pretty much a continuation of Sonic Unleashed in terms of gameplay, but with 3D taking a bit of a backseat. It's still there, but the 2D sections are more relevant here. Some people hate the fact that there's not a lot of 3D in this game. Some will even go as far as arguing that Colors isn't a 3D game, and I can see where they're coming from. I mean, sure, the 3D games were getting a lot of shit around that time, but to face that complaint, you have to start tweaking on it and not get rid of it entirely. And it pretty much expands on the boost gameplay from Unleashed, but instead of rings develop your boost gauge with the white wisp, you can control Sonic from beginning to end and nobody else. You can air boost, wall jump, stomp without needing upgrades. Sonic can also double jump, which isn't all that helpful. I mean, it could be great to get your bearings, but sometimes it could feel a little bit loose because I lost the amount of times I slipped off the platform and plummeted to my doom. I think it's at its worst at Planet Wisp with very narrow platforms. Sonic overall feels pretty alright to control in 3D. Your Sonic's button inputs, and when I die, it feels like a mistake I made and not because of poor controls. But in 2D, it's kind of a different story. Sonic feels pretty stiff when he's platforming, and there's a lot of platforming in this game, so if you don't really like the controls in this game, then you probably won't have a good time. The main mechanic of this game are the Wisp. They help Sonic perform different actions depending on what wisps you activated. The white wisps are the most common ones you'll find. Like I said before, they fill up your boost gauge and make you go at fast speeds. Next to the cyan wisp. The cyan wisp turns Sonic into a laser that can bounce off solid surfaces to change the laser's path and travel through power lines. You can skip large sections if other levels are good enough. Next is the drill wisp. It helps you dig underground to find rewards like rings and extra lives. Then there's the rocket wisp. It propels Sonic high into the air to reach separate pathways. Then you safely skydive to the ground. Next is the cube wisp. It turns Sonic into a cube and turns all square platforms into cubes, and turns the exact same square platforms into blue rings. This wisp is pretty useless. You only really need it to grasp the platforming segments to go down. Next is the hover wisp. As the name suggests, it allows Sonic to hover for a certain amount of time. It can also let him do the light speed dash even though he's been able to do it naturally before. Now we get to the purple wisp, Frenzy. It turns Sonic into a complete monster and destroys everything in its path. It's a weird power up and can be hard to control, especially in 3D, but I like it. Finally, there's the pink one, the Spike Wisp. It allows Sonic to stick on walls and traverse through different obstacles. It also lets you spin dash, and again, kinda weird since Sonic's been able to spin dash naturally before, but whatever. So a lot of people hate the Wisp because since it replaced Sonic's friends in their placement in games, and pretty much turned into side characters, which I can see where they're coming from, but when this game was coming out, people were complaining about Sonic's friends feeling like another game, and I think that these are a nice alternative. Now you would think that this gimmick would have gotten in the way of everything and would have gotten annoying, but they managed to avoid that by not making them entirely mandatory to complete stages. Plus, the stages are designed around their use. The most that you're going to need to use them is for getting S-ranks and getting all the red rings, because you're going to need a lot of color bonuses to reach an S-rank and find other pathways to getting the red rings. Now, if you're not going for the red rings and just playing casually, Sonic Colors is a pretty short game. You can beat it in about 2 to 3 hours. I mean, there's 63 levels in this game, but they're all pretty bite-sized. I remember one of them took me 40 seconds to complete, but that kind of makes the levels get a little bit disappointing just when they're about to get good. It's like another Sonic game that I know of, but don't worry guys, I'll get to that one soon. Very soon. So as far as gameplay goes, it's pretty much the same as the other games in the Boost quadrilogy, just leaning more into 2D, which again, not very fond of the 2D controls since they have a little bit too much weight compared to 3D, but it's not the worst thing ever to be honest. But there should have been more obstacles in the 3D sections, because when you're playing in 3D, You just quick step here, which is kind of awkward, being mapped to the analog stick rather than the left or right trigger. Drift here with nothing in your way to block you, and you just do the simplest quick time events, like really simple. All you do is press A over and over again. Now, I'm not saying that it should be like Unleashed where you need cat-like reflexes to dodge what the game throws at you, but I feel like there should be some more challenge that doesn't make this game feel too easy. I understand they're trying to appeal to a general audience, but I feel like a nice balance of tough but fair challenge would have been good. That's just personal preference though. Anyway, let's get to the red rings. There's 5 in total of each level, but they're not really as tedious as the rings from Sonic Advance 2. You only need certain widths to get some of them, so you have to come back to them later, and that gives the game some replay value, but it gets kinda annoying realizing that you can't get to a certain rings and you'll have to come back for it. Collect enough rings and you unlock the Sonic Simulator. It's pretty much the same game you've been playing before, but with your Mii on Sonic's body, and you can even play with a friend. Some levels borrow some level design from the classic games, weirdly enough. Anyway, once you complete all of them, you will unlock Super Sonic for regular levels. Back then, this was pretty amazing since Super Sonic wasn't playable for normal levels since 1994. You're invincible, you have an infinite boost, and you have a higher jump, but you can't use color powers and you can still fall down bottomless pits and get crushed. But that's really it as far as the gameplay goes overall, and I think it's pretty solid, but we're not done yet. We still have to talk about the DS version of the game. Now, looking at this game from first glance, you can see that it's pretty much a third Sonic Rush game, but without the trick system. There's actually a couple of differences in terms of gameplay, which makes sense since Dims was behind the wheel for this game, but thankfully, it doesn't have bottomless pits and enemy placement bullshit from Dims that we all know and love with the biggest quotation marks. For starters, everything about the modern boost gameplay was implemented here. You can air boost, stomp, slide, wall jump, and homing attack. Instead of 6 stages, now only 3, which makes the game even shorter. Then there's the missions, where Sonic's friends finally make an appearance. You can get the Chaos Emeralds in this game by doing special stages again, but unlike the Wii game, Super Sonic is only used for the final boss again, which I don't get. And finally, there are 2 new Wisp power-ups that are exclusive to the DS version of the game. First is a Burst Wisp, which makes Sonic bounce in the air as much as he wants, and can be used as a screen nuke that can take anything out in the explosion. Then there's the Purple Void Wisp that turns Sonic into a black hole that sucks everything around him. So I guess this is kind of a predecessor to the Asteroid Wisp from Lost World. Now I think this game's graphics look amazing. For a Nintendo Wii title, this I would consider to be one of the prettiest games on the Wii. The levels are vibrant and colorful, and the level designs really blend in with the character models, and it's just all around a really pretty game. I also really love the level aesthetics. Like, out of the 4 main Boost games, I think Colors has the best look in this levels. While I love the photorealistic approach they took for Unleashed, I just really love how different each level feels from each other, and they might be one of the most creative Sonic levels in history. I mean, you run in a world full of candy, sugar, and sweets, and I just love that kind of level aesthetic. And I think that Nintendo agrees with me because some of the tracks from Mario Kart 8 have taken some inspiration from this game. Yeah, because nobody gives a shit when Mario uses level aesthetics from Sonic, but when it's the other way around. Oh my god, second copy Nintendo, kill it! Throw it in the trash can! Oh, that's the wrong game. Now, I don't mean to sound nitpicky, but if you're gonna call Sonic Colors a Mario Galaxy ripoff, then you're gonna have to call the Woody Kingdom Planet Wisp ripoff, or Electrodome a Starlight Carnival ripoff, and Sweet Sweet Canyon a Sweet Mountain ripoff. Okay, I swear that's the last Mario comparisons I'm gonna do for this video. But overall, I love this game's graphics. I think it's at least among the top 10 best Sonic art styles ever. Okay, the soundtrack, I mean, what else can I say? It's awesome. Everything about it, the orchestral tracks, the stage tracks, the title screen, it's all great stuff. I think it's safe to say that this is one of the best Sonic soundtracks from the 2010s. I don't like it just because it's good, but there's just a lot of variety in between the instruments, between each theme. My favorite tracks being the orchestral version of Reach for the Stars, Tropical Coast, Planet Wisp, Starlight Carnival's Hub World theme and boss theme, Asteroid Coaster, and Aquarium Park. Overall, this game's soundtrack is just perfect. I expect nothing less from Sonic's theme when it comes to soundtracks. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed my revisit to this game. Sure, it had some of its issues, which have made even more glaring obvious with the games like Sonic Generations, but as a Sonic game, I think it's pretty fun. I know some people hate this game for starting off the quote-unquote meta era of Sonic games with having less mature stories and more self-aware humor than the games that came out before it, but honestly, besides Forces, the last decade of Sonic wasn't that bad.
What's 17 more years? I can always start again. Make another kid.
Okay, but for real, I think this game did a pretty good job in getting Sonic back on track, and I think that hating a game just for having more childish and less deeper stories is kinda stupid. But instead, let's just try to appreciate the fact that developers were really trying when it came to this game. Although I wouldn't immediately go to this game when I would play a 3D Sonic game, I would still play Generations or Adventure 1 before I played this game, but it's still a really great game, and I think that it deserved to get a remaster, even though some other games deserve it, but I digress. So that's it for this video. If you like it, subscribe, and I'll try my hardest to make sure that you enjoy my content. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram for updates on video progress and shit posts. Join the Discord server if you want to chat with me or with any of my other friends. Follow me on Twitch, I stream there every weekend. And subscribe to the second channel. I'm going to start using that channel more often, so yeah. With all that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.